am Chi Chi, and I am working on a routine. That is my priority for right now. I have a list of stuff that I wanted to talk about, and I was going to talk about those things like individually, but I just decided to kind of mash them together because that is what I am doing in this moment. Like all the things on my list of stuff that I wanted to mention are relevant and like somewhat connected to each other. Um, I actually just recorded, I don't even know, a couple minutes into the first few things on the list, and one of my alarms went off, and I kept talking, and I didn't realize that since my alarm went off, it cut off the video that I was doing. So we're gonna start over. I got halfway through. That's okay. I'm gonna start it over. The first thing was adjusting to a new environment and starting a new routine. So, what I was saying about the routine thing is I am definitely more of a night owl than I am a morning person. I don't dislike the mornings. I actually love the quiet of the morning. It's very, very peaceful. I like seeing the sunrise and hearing the birds start to chirp and hearing the first couple cars like get out onto the road and do what they need to do. But for me personally, I've never really been able to like fully enjoy the mornings. Like before now, like we're gonna take it back way, way, way back to like when I was in school, like high school and whatnot. High school and like early college time. The morning was always it was definitely a drag. It was definitely, there was just a lot going on for the most part. A, a lot in part due to the environment that I was in. And now that's not so much of an issue because I am way far removed from those things in that time. And I love the quiet of the morning, but I am not always up early in the morning because I have when I work the weekends, I work 12-hour shifts, so I work overnights. So from Saturday to Monday, I have a certain schedule. And then from Friday to Tuesday, or from Tuesday to Friday, excuse me, I have a different schedule. So what I was saying with getting into a good routine is I think that it takes like 7 or 21 days or some amount of time for a habit to become a habit and to get used to a new routine. But at this point in my life, because I have a completely different routine from the weekend than I do during the week, it's kind of hard to set specific times for stuff. Like, if I could I could set a bedtime, but that bedtime would be different Tuesday to Friday than it would be from Saturday to Monday. So, yeah, I'm trying to figure out something that works for me in this time because I think it's very admirable for the people who, wake up at the crack of dawn and, get half of their day done before the sun comes up. Like, I think that is a very good and productive way to live. Do I think that is for me? Not necessarily, but I would be willing to try it because I am a person who is open to solutions in general. Now, I don't think that it's like, I can't even think of, 12 things to do before the sun would come up. Like, of course, like a regular wake up routine, that's probably a good 4 or 5 things. But then I think I would be, exhausted by noon. But that wouldn't stop me from trying that. The thing that is really stopping me from committing to something like that right now is just the fact that my routine switches so drastically from the week to the weekend. So I'm looking for that sweet spot in the middle. So that's where I'm at with that. And then, that's the next thing I was getting into, is I finished a section in my planner, and that section is like where it ties into this. It tracks my habits, the things that I want to implement, and just random things that are on my mind, because I have 3 areas that I kind of write in regularly, and that's my regular journal where I write about my life, my dream journal if I happen to remember an interesting dream, and then the habits and tracking and the blah, blah, blah. And that's where I write random things that don't necessarily belong in my journal or in my dream journal. So I actually finished that recently, and I was very happy about that. And the next thing I was going to tackle is budget, because now I've been here for a month, and I know what my bills look like. you know, versus like before where I had some shared bills. Now I don't have any shared bills. And now that I know what that looks like in that regard, I can plan better when it comes to that, which personally, that is a big relief for me. I'm the type of person where as long as I have as long as I have an outline for what something will look like, that's like a weight lifted off my shoulders. I don't need to have every single thing figured out to like the exact nanosecond. There are things that do require a little bit more planning than other things, but for me in general, when it comes to like getting myself to a good stable foundation, as long as I have my plan in place and then can start implementing things, I'm pretty much okay with that. So that's where we are with the routine and the budget. We are like pretty much like we've got a good eye on what is going on, and now we're going to try to start to do new things in those regards to try and make sure that they are optimal for myself. The next thing is, so I have a cat and I would like more pets. I am not at the time right now to get them because I do work weekends, and I've wanted a dog forever. I love dogs. I grew up with a wide range of animals. I've had cats, I've had dogs, I've had reptiles. I think the only pet that I have never personally had or had in my family was a bird. And I think birds are cool. I just never have had one before. But anyway, that's just been something on my heart for a while now. I have wanted a puppy, but I made a deal with myself that I will not get a dog until I am fully able to dedicate the time and care to that dog, which means that I can't, not can't, but like, since I work 12s on the weekend, now is not a great time for a puppy. Puppies need to get taken out every 2 hours, and that is just not in the cards for this moment. But I would really like to do that. That's something I'm looking forward to. Let's see. Oh, yes. Another thing is, so I mentioned in my first video, or might have been the first and second video, this is not my first time on this platform. I had a channel last year, and I had it for a good couple months, I think, before I decided to delete it, because I wanted it to be so specific, and then I let go of that. I was like, okay, you know what, my channel is not going to be a specific niche type of thing, and that was okay. But I was kind of like, it wasn't hard to decide to let the channel go, because it kind of was getting out of hand, in my opinion, just with where I was and where I wanted my channel to be. So this time around, I have no specific, like, anything. Like, I'm just going to come on here and talk about whatever I feel like talking about for the day. And that is what I'm going to do with it. And also, when I had started the first channel, I was very much trying to do it the proper way. And I think that there's definitely a lot to that, like having your content planned out, having, you know, your things for your specific audience. But the thing is, I was so brand new, I didn't really have an audience. So I was just trying to kind of stick to like the point of me creating my channel, which was very personal to me. It was very like, you know, I think that the reason, I had several reasons, and they were all like kind of bigger than myself. And this time around, I kind of want to like narrow the lens down to actually myself. The things I want to talk about where I, you know, it's something that I might not necessarily have shared. I think it's important to just let people know that, you know, they're not the only one in a situation. Like, I could be going through something that someone else is going through. So I think if I share that, then that's definitely important. I'm not just sharing just to like put out something for the day. So something that was, it was frustrating for me prior to, was I felt like I just had to say anything. Like, I felt like, okay, well, my favorite color is green, so today I'm going to talk about why my favorite color is green. I like sunny weather. So today I'm going to talk about sunny weather, like just to have something to put out there. This time around, I am literally only going to put out whatever I feel like, you know, calls to me, because that feels more authentic. And it's not that I wasn't before, but I just felt like I had to keep putting stuff out like every single day, every single day, every single day. Now I know it's important for growth. Like these are I'm talking about two separate things here, but they do tie into each other, because no one does anything for no reason at all. Like, you know, if someone is doing something and they're not necessarily being compensated, it's because they enjoy it. So that's the reason that they're doing it. It's not for no reason. So we are we're creatures that are motivated by stuff. Like, you know, whether that stuff is, I want to say tangible or intangible. Like, you know, whether the thing that you're getting out of it is like something, you know, you're actually getting something out of it. Like, you know, eventually my channel is going to be monetized. So, you know, I'll be getting compensation back for my time. Right now, it's just like, I just want to share. I just want to talk. I just want to have conversations. And I feel like that's like what is motivating me right now, which is why I'm doing my channel differently than before, where I was just like, okay, idea, put it out. Okay, idea, put it out. Okay, idea, put it out. I'm in a time where I'm like more carefully curating what I'm doing instead of just doing anything. So that brings me to my next point, and that is facing fears. I like to think of myself as a brave person. I'm not the bravest person on the planet, of course, but I'm not like, okay, so just random list of things that people can be afraid of. The dark, you know, that's okay. So, you know, after a certain age, most people aren't afraid of the dark. Some people still are. That is okay. But I'm not afraid of the dark. I am not afraid of like bugs. I'm not afraid of spiders. I'm not afraid of like centipedes. Like if I see, I just moved in, so I don't know how long my unit was vacant before I moved in, but I've seen a couple critters around. I've seen like literally a few, not so many, thankfully. One was a larger spider that there's my cat, that I was encouraging my cat to eat because it was larger. The spider actually got away though. But if I was able to catch it and release it, I would have done that. I couldn't do it though, because it was in a corner. So the way my vents are, I just couldn't catch and release the spider. But literally the other day, I just saw some type of gnat looking thing that I was able to catch and release. And point being is that like, okay, so let me get back on track. I'm not afraid of bugs. I'm not afraid of the dark. I'm not afraid of animals. Like some people are afraid of animals in general, which is like, I understand that. And that's like, you know, I have nothing against people who like I know people, my sister, I have a sister who is afraid of large dogs. She got bit by a dog. So, you know, she's afraid of dogs. That's sad. And it's not like, I don't feel judgmental about that at all. I'm not like, oh, you know, not all big dogs are going to bite you, so you should try to give it another chance. No, I understand. She got bit by a Cane Corso. Those dogs are gigantic. They're 100+ pounds. They're very, very large dogs. So, getting back to my point, yeah, there's not much that I am afraid of. I do have like a fear that I have recently faced was drowning. So I mentioned, or I might have mentioned that in the video before it got cut off, but swim class, or I might have mentioned it in this one, I don't know. I can't remember. But I had a fear of drowning, which is one of the reasons why I wanted to take a swim class, and I believe that my skills are improving. I'm learning how to propel myself like forward in the water, and I guess something that I had like even before the class was I can float. So I had no problem with getting into water. I did have a kind of like trepidation of deeper water, because while I can float, I don't have a lot of stamina. So I would definitely need to be close to some type of like something, to the ledge of the pool or to like a boat, say if I was out on the lake with friends or something like that. But dealing with that fear, I decided to deal with that head on. Like, okay, drowning is something I don't want to do, so let me learn how to swim, which is what I'm currently doing. What I think I'm gonna do going forward, though, because these swim classes, I just took them at my local, what do you call it, at my local rec center, so they weren't like very in depth. And I think coming up for the next season of swim, I think what I'm gonna try to do is actually save up for a personal, like, one-on-one tutor, because now that I know the mechanics of it, sort of, now I just really need to be able to implement those mechanics way more frequently than than I could with swim, because there's 3 to 4 other people in my class, and there was only one instructor. So she was a wonderful instructor, though. It was a good time. But just tying into facing my fear, I'm trying to kind of implement more things where I can face a fear. So I mentioned the things that I wasn't afraid of, because I'm not like necessarily afraid of a lot. Like, I think I have good healthy fear, like things that people should fear, like running into traffic. That is something that people should be cautious of. No one should be like, oh, I'm so brave, I can run right into traffic. That is really crazy. So yeah, a fear that I am personally working on is I would say interacting with people more. People are the only thing that I can say that I consciously, like, for sure, like, not, okay, so I feel like I'm gonna, I'm not trying to butcher what I'm thinking in my mind. I am a person who, I'm naturally introverted, I feel. I can be extroverted, though, once I, like, get to know a person, and once I'm comfortable in the environment that I'm in. I feel definitely more open to, like, sharing with people. And a lot of that has to do with, like, what is it? There's a term for it. But basically, okay, so if I meet a person who is very, like, high in energy, like, very, very smiley, very happy, like, you know, I'm going to reflect that. Like, you know, if a person is, like, always like, hi, how are you? You know, how's it going? How's the blah, blah, blah? How's your whatnot and all this and all that? Like, I'm gonna, like, I feel more inclined to be that way toward that person. Like, you know, it's not like, it's definitely not so much, gosh, I don't want to butcher what I'm trying to say, so I'm just going to go on further explaining it, and hopefully it'll come out correctly. But yeah, so if I meet somebody who's, like, very, very, like outgoing, in their expressions, I feel more that, like, you know, I can be outgoing in my expressions with them. Whereas, like, I am a naturally reserved person. So say I meet somebody who is more reserved, I'm going to be a little bit more reserved. I'm not going to, like, bring a very outgoing and, like, overly expressive state to a person who is more reserved, because I'm, like, you know, I'm trying to, like, get to know that person. So, naturally, I would say I'm, like, in the middle. So I'm more introverted, but I do, like, when I feel a connection with that person. Excuse me, sir. My cat is feeling a connection with my chandelier at this moment, and he is very displeased with it for some reason. Okay. Come here. Okay. Well, he's doing his thing, and that's all right. So, as I was saying, yeah, because I just, like, you know, for me personally, there's all kinds of different folks out there, but that is something that I have, like, you know, just noticed about myself is I am a very, very middle of the road type of person, and not just, like, it's not, there are things that I just absolutely don't agree with. I'm not middle of the road, in general in life, but my natural temperament, I'm very, like, middle of the road. I am more reserved in my own, like, if I had to describe myself, I would say I'm more reserved. But also, like, when I feel very, like, close to people, like, my cousins are a good flippin' time. My cousins love to have a good time. They're very outgoing. They're very, like, you know, like, they're gonna move and shake around the room. When something has happened, they are moving and shaking. They're doing their thing, and I so, like, I admire that about them. And when I'm with them, I feel like I could be that way. Now, say I was at say I just went out, myself. I probably would not, I would not carry myself the way I would, if I were with my cousins. Like if I'm at, just say I go out to a bar or whatever. I don't go out like that, but, that's the example. Say I do that. I'm not going to be just walking around the room, hi, everybody, how are you? Da, 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 da. I'd probably sit up at the bar with the bartender, and maybe like make some like conversations with the people like around me, because like, naturally I'd feel more comfortable with that. But then I do want to challenge myself, i.e. face that fear of trying to be more open. And the key here with that is the discernment, for sure. Not everybody deserves, there's different types of folks in the world. So, that being said and understood, it's not necessarily a good idea to just, be an open book for everybody and anybody. I think that does come with just learning a person, and naturally that takes time. So I am learning that balance of like, okay, in this say I meet a new person in a new situation, I'm gonna kind of see, where the conversation goes, just like naturally, not try to like, oh, that's another thing. So, also with the conversation, I do tend to let other people lead, and I'm okay with that. Cause I don't want to just come in and be like, okay, so I love talking about animals. I wouldn't come into a new conversation with somebody like, hi, I'm Chi-Chi and I love animals. And, I like this and that and that and this and that, da, 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 da. Like I'm more of the, I'm more of the mind to try to hear out what a person is telling me and their interests and whatnot. And then when I see something that I can chime in on, then I'll I'll chime in there. Also, that's a balance too, because I don't want to that's not good conversation to just like, jump on one topic and then change the conversation there. So it's kind of something that I try to like sprinkle and I try to implement like, okay, this person is talking about like, what's something, I am not at all knowledgeable on. So like, okay, not necessarily. Okay, so I don't know that much about agriculture. Like it's of interest to me, but I'm not super knowledgeable on agriculture. So if I was talking to somebody about that and they're telling me things like, I might have very short answers because I don't have that much to add to the conversation, but I'm very interested in the conversation. So they might switch from agriculture to their animals. They were talking about farm stuff. I like farm stuff too. So, then they bring up the animals, and now I have a little bit more to say because, like, I am more knowledgeable on this topic, and conversations are a give and take. It's not just one person, dominating the situation. People definitely do that, but to me, that's not a very good conversation. So, I'm trying to learn my balance, get in my rhythm, basically. So, yeah, that is how I deal with that. And I think I've kind of talked myself out now. So, I am going to sign off on this one. And, let me just take a moment to think if there's anything else I just want to add. Just as a little like side note or just a cliff note. No, I think that's it. I believe that's it. Just kind of just wrapping it up is like, the new, let's see, I had new environment, facing fears, my planner, conversation pets, and doing my channel differently. I think that's everything. I want to just remain as open as I feel comfortable with, and also like press my comfort level. I refuse to be uncomfortable. Not in a sense of, excuse me. So I have my balcony door open. Excuse me. I have my balcony door open and it's kind of cold, so little sniffles. But as I was saying, yes. So I don't want to stay in my comfort zone because there's no growth in a comfort zone, but I am not going to make myself uncomfortable in the way of like, not choosing myself, I will not self-abandon, but no, I will not self-abandon, and I do want to grow as a person. I want to have like very like good fulfilling relationships and live my life in a way that feels good to me. And I know that there are other people who like feel the same. So that is the area of